This is Fisher Flying Products. I'm Dave Hartner. Welcome to The Nest. Our video newsletters provide weekly insight into building and flying our 15 wooden aircraft designs. Plini Motori of Italy is a gracious sponsor of our channel. Plini is the manufacturer of the Thor 250 DS. Cozycarb Ice Prevention Systems is a proud sponsor of this channel as well. Please take the time to watch our videos to the end, as this assists us in the metrics that YouTube uses to rate our channel. Hit the like button if you feel that the content is worthy. We invite you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the subscribe button and hitting the bell so that you are notified whenever we post our newsletters. Welcome back to The Nest, everyone. This week's video is another long one. We're working on the landing gear once again. I have a couple of new designs that I'll share with you. We've been trying to make this gear lighter, more aerodynamic, and easier for us to manufacture. Some of the components for the existing gear take a long time to make, and some of the stuff, like for the tailwheel springs, is getting very difficult to source. So we've got some new concepts that we're going to share with you today. I have some status photos from our new product, the Cozycarb carburetor heaters. We have them at the casting plant, and I've got a couple of photos of the first units out of the dies, and so that's kind of interesting. I have an Aria update. Lionel's been super busy with the demo plane, and so we've got some photos to share with you there. And I have a huge product announcement to make this week. We've been negotiating some interesting stuff, and you'll have to stay tuned later in the video and I'll share that with you, but we're super excited on this. And lastly, we're going to share the second part of Algy Yates' tail kit build, and he's working on the Youngster tail kit, and he's going to do some laminations. So stay tuned. Let's have some fun. So here is the new landing gear setup that we've been working on and I've been designing. I saw a concept like this in a magazine just recently, and they were using solid cables right from the right across here, and they were just relying on spring in the cable and some tire pressure spring. And so I got playing around, and I found that you could get these springs here. They look like door closer springs, but you can get them in multiple different weights, and they're a captured design, and they will provide enough spring, depending on which size we choose, to be able to take up that amount of movement on the A-arm. The other thing we're going to change out is we're going to go with a welded A-frame gear leg that has a receiver tube for the axle bolt built right into it. So the axle bolt will just literally be able to be removed, and you can put your wheel on with a spacer, and then tighten it up and put a cotter pin, castle nut and cotter pin in, and you've got everything all captured there. And the brake reaction plate is built right into it as well, so that you can affix your brakes. We felt that this was a much more durable, much more like with a welded affair, especially this corner brace in here, and it will lock in any kind of camber or caster, and you know, the last thing you want is to build your, with our old gears, to build up the landing gear, and then to have the aircraft, crabbing on you or towing in and having abnormal tire wear. So anyway, this retrofits and fits directly into the existing cross tubes, the C-channel cross C channels, using the existing mount points. I wanted to make sure that it was totally retrofittable, and it'll be offered as a kit for anybody who wants to get rid of the bungee. And like I said, we'll get these springs rated out as to what they need to be for the various models. We're looking at maybe even creating some sort of boot that sits over them, so they aren't open to the elements. And the cables that come with it will be pre-swaged. cables with the fork end on it and another end, and with a turnbuckle that you'll be able to adjust to put preload in on the spring. Now, there's two pieces in here. This provides a stop for the leg after you're off the ground, and we don't know for sure whether we'll have one or two of those. I'm working that out with the designer to make sure that we have enough strength there to resist an inward load on the gear leg should you be coming in and you're drifting sideways and you pushing the leg in. So we want to make sure that that's taken care of. So as you can see, we're trying to think through all of the things that we have to think through for this new gear design, but it's much more aerodynamic, it's much cleaner, it's much easier to make for us, and it's much easier to make for you. So that's the main gear. And now I'll pull up the tail wheel. Here's our new tail wheel design. Spring actuated, shock actuated, articulating tail spring. We have found over the last little while that the costs of our leaf springs to have them made has gone through the roof. We are having a hard time getting the steel for it. The steel price has almost doubled in the last little while, and so we can get all of the components for this tail wheel affair, which is much better, shock absorption capabilities. The material is aluminum tubing, aluminum plate, and some steel pieces that we can have made on a CNC laser and then have them break bent. This top piece, we're using the same mount holes as in the existing designs, and we decided to incorporate this bracket, which is the bracket that holds the tail struts on the lower end, and its hole into this design, which gives us now a stronger 3-bolt attachment. So that's it just makes it a more robust system. As you can see, this is our existing lightweight tail wheel system that just works right into it, and we'll have a variant that works with the Matco tail wheel as well. So the spring rate, and we can get different springs and different spring rates on this, and we'll tailor them to our lightweight aircraft and also to the heavier aircraft. So as you can see, I've been busy getting some new designs put together for you, and we're real excited to be able to offer this soon. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about Cozycarb. Cozycarb is a ice buildup prevention system for the Rotax 912 and the 582 and their variants. This unit here basically gets press fit onto the carburetor. So if you take your carburetor out of the boot that it's mounted into, the intake boot, the end of the carburetor will look like this piece here, this flange. Now this unit's designed to take that flange from the carburetor and press fit it into this side, and thereby it offsets the carburetor by about 17 millimeters from its original mount point, and in almost all installations there's enough room to be able to accommodate that. What happens then is that these pipes get plumbed into the heating system or the cooling system of the liquid cooled engine, and hot coolant circulates through the pipe and keeps this ring quite warm. And what that does is it translates heat into the carb body and therefore keeps the carb body warm enough that no ice can stick to the carburetor throat, and therefore keeping you safe that way. Now, this is an always-on system. You never have to turn it on, turn it off. You never have to remember it. It just gets plumbed in, and it's always warming the carburetor. And the beauty of that is that it doesn't warm the intake charge, and so therefore you don't lose any power by feeding hot air into your engine from an exhaust muff type system. So next I'm going to talk a little bit about the manufacturer of that. We purchased this system from a company named SkyDrives in the UK. They're retiring, and we've rebranded it and called it Cozycarb. And so we've We've taken their dies, and as you can see by the photos that I'm showing you now, we've got the dies into the casting shop, and we've made new components, new copper components for inside for the tubes, and we've had our first successful test trials of the casting process, and so we're going to have these available on our website very shortly, as soon as we get the castings back and the machining done and we can get the kits put together. So stay tuned for that. They'll be available on our website. Here's a few photos of Lionel working on the Aria project. He's done a tremendous amount of work on the fin and the rudder, incorporating the hinges that we showed last week, as well as the horizontal stabilizer and elevator. We're building straight across without any anhedral. Just want to remind everyone that we've got a few spots left in our 5 kit offer, early bird offer, where you get about $6,000 off on a kit with landing gear, with the retractable landing gear. So give us a call if you're interested. We've got 2, maybe 3 of the spots are already taken, and we'd like to fill that up. So give us a call. And now for the big announcement I mentioned in the introduction. Over the past few months, we have been in discussions with Aerosports from Greece to become a North American distributor of their exciting SF1 Archon. The SF stands for Sports Fighter. It's the only reasonably priced jet fighter look-alike sports plane on the market. It can be powered by as little as a Rotax 582 and upgraded all the way to a Rotax 912 100 horsepower. We're going to be documenting the first build of this aircraft kit in North America. Here's a little bit of video showing this exciting plane. As you can imagine, this is a very exciting development for Fisher Flying Products. We are going to be purchasing one of these kits from Aerosports, and we're going to be putting it together here in Ontario and documenting the process so that you can follow along. We are working on North American pricing right now, but I can assure you that you're going to be very pleased with how low cost this aircraft will be. So stay tuned to the channel and we'll have more information coming soon. And now here's Algy Yates continuing with his Youngster tail kit assembly process. Today he's going to be working on the outer bow and doing some laminations for us. So here's Algy.
Hi, in this video we create the leading edge bow. Okay then, so the plan has been cut. It's so it fits on my bench, and I've got a load of blocks ready to go. So the task now is to set the blocks up around the perimeter, and I'm going to hold them in with drywall screws straight into my workbench. So we'll go to a bit of time lapse from now. So just a quick look, I've just put the blocks all the way around the edge, so that we've got something to attach the bow to. So here I am, I've dry fitted the strips all together at the moment, just to make sure it would all conform, and I've got this end here, and at the other end you can sort of see there's quite a chunk of excess. That's so I can tighten up the joints, but I made sure that the joints, I might just get rid of that, the joints are staggered between laminations by a fair amount, so that you know, we don't have a line of failure, because the strips aren't long enough to go around all in one go. So I'm just going to square up the ends. I don't know if that sort of shows on the camera, but it's quite a rough sawn end, so I'm just going to square that up. So we've got a nice joint when we're doing the lamination. So I'm just going to literally just take off that very end, just doing it with a razor saw. The plastic sheet was out of the way, and then it's a very gentle deburr to get that sorted, and then I'll do that all the way through. I've marked these up for their relevant positions, so join you shortly after I've done that to all the others. So resin mixed up, this is the first strip. I'm just going to put some epoxy in the joint. It's taped to hold it together, which probably won't work. I'm just going to have to rely, I'll take that tape out there. Now we're going to just bow that into position. This is the first one, which is going to sit out to one side. I'll now apply epoxy to the others. I only apply epoxy to one face. There is a reason behind only applying it to one face, and that is it helps to expel air when you put it together. And if we have too much epoxy in other words you've got it on two faces, it's very hard for a wide strip narrow, which has got a low point pressure to expel excess resin. So there's two good reasons for only applying epoxy to one side. Right then, I'm just going to unclamp this lot. It should all be dry now. I'm just going to unclamp it, release it so that it can actually settle, and it'll be reclamped again in its new settled position after I've sanded the top areas and the bottom areas of the laminate to get it flat, and then we'll be able to start putting in the rest of the bits and pieces. So let's see what we've got to start off with. There we have one bow. You see there's quite a bit of resin underneath, so I'm going to sand that off, but this is now relaxed and it's really quite stiff. I'll put it back into its position. And that's all ready to go. It's now relaxed. Here is the leading edge, just clamped lightly in position. I've sanded the resin, excess resin, off the top and bottom. There's still a very thin layer of resin in some areas. I've just gone down to touching the wood, keeping it dead flat. Where a strip has been very slightly narrower, there's just a sort of a very thin layer of resin, but it's now all dead flat along the top. I'm just going to show you, hopefully I can get in close up and show you the steps that I use in the lamination. So I'm not sure how this sort of shows up, but there is one step there. There's one over there, one there, and one there. Now the requirements from my old training handbooks for steps in laminations is that in consecutive lamination, so if I had a cut in this one here, it would have to be 15 times the thickness of a lamination to that joint. However, if it's a separated by a laminate, so you're going alternate ones, it only needs to be 8 times the thickness of a lamination. Well, that's more than 8, and then there's a gap, and that one's definitely way more than 8, and then from there to there is more than 8. So that's the sort of requirements. But if it's in consecutive laminations, I said it should be 15, so that's a bit like a sort of a shallow scarf joint. So that's that one. Hopefully that showed up. And on this side where the other joints are, there's one there, miss a lamination, that one there, more than 8 by a long way. Gap, one there, more than 8. And then the very leading edge one, the joint is in the, focus, the joint is in the center just there, and you can possibly just see, if I get this out of the way, you can just see underneath the resin, I hope, all the different little lines where I'd actually drawn a datum line for when I was clamping it, and it's still actually underneath the resin. I haven't sanded the pencil lines off. But it shows really how good the wood is for its thickness, how well they machined it. Okay, so that concludes the tailplane leading edge video. So next time up we're going to be fitting, hopefully, the spar into place and a couple of other bits and pieces. We'll see how well we get on. Bye for now.
Thanks again for watching. We try hard to bring you interesting content each week. To help us out, please like and share our videos if you feel the content is worthy. To receive the latest info from Fisher Flying Products, click the subscribe button and ring the bell. See you next time in the nest.